Okay, so Maz, it looks like you and I will be leading this particular discussion because this is an issue that's still kind of plaguing us, and Kim and I have spoken about it before. Set jargon.
Yes.
Now, you and I work mostly in sets together with our friends from film school.
Yes.
I think we all kind of sporadically show up on other sets, but they're also fairly small and run by other students who have different bits of terminology. And I recently came to the realization that I don't know how to refer to my lighting setups with proper language.
Yes. Me neither.
Kim threw out the word Flecce the other day.
Oh.
And I couldn't register it, and it was tough. You know, floppy is that thing. You know, that big flag type thing, the cut, and it goes like it. Yeah, I'll show you a photo at some point.
Yep.
Anyway, it reminded me that a while back, Kim and I chatted about starting a big dictionary/glossary. Is glossary the right word? I think it is, yeah.
Yeah.
For this kind of terminology. And in the interest of not being insane, because we spoke about this earlier, this is not going to be a discussion about terminology, but instead a discussion about how you and I think it would be good in our specific scenario to learn to communicate our setups better and also enforce this terminology so we adopt it and become, more efficient / more maneuverable filmmakers. Because if we're being asked by people who don't know us to shoot something and we're throwing out words that we only use with our friends, they're not going to know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. But first...
Like, what's a rap?
What's a rap? What even is one? Who knows?
That's not a rap. No. No.
Okay. First, though, this could end up being a really short episode, by the way, because there's a very good chance that we could get through, the first bit and then be like, so what do you think of this strategy? Like a strategy to figure it out. And we'll both be like, oh, yeah. We'll see.
That sounds good.
It could be a mini episode. Who knows? First things first, because you're here.
Yes.
A while back, we held a vote on the name for this glossary. The Modern Set Morphology.
Ooh. Mm-hmm.
The Contemporary Set Codex.
Ooh.
And the Green Set Grimoire. Those are the ones that have gotten votes, and it's split evenly.
Wasn't it the Set Grinch's Grimoire?
Set Grinch's Grimoire had no votes and is therefore eliminated from the second round, unfortunately.
Ooh.
So, I'm going to repeat those to you. Modern Set Morphology, Contemporary Set Codex, Green Set Grimoire.
Ooh, I am looking at them right here. I kind of like Contemporary Set Codex.
Contemporary Set Codex, the CSC.
Yes, CSC.
Okay. It is decided.
Yeah.
We are now going to create the Contemporary Set Codex. Also, last time, Kim and I chatted about how this should be formatted in a way that is not only democratic, but also not chaotic.
Right, yes.
I can't remember exactly what options we discussed, Kim. I think it was an Excel spreadsheet that has a moderator or something along those lines.
Ooh.
Personally, I don't think we have to reinvent the wheel. This is what wikis were invented for.
Right. So a wiki style, we could literally start a wiki. It's quite easy, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Excellent. We've got
Cool.
It's a pretty great idea in my opinion. We will need it needs to be given a very big audience. We can discuss that later. This isn't the marketing podcast. Now, Maz, how do you feel about set jargon and terminology having left film school? How do you feel about it when you heard it and were introduced to it at first, and how do you feel about it now?
Well, when I was introduced to it, I was not confident, and leaving film school, I am still not confident. I feel like even though we did...
No school for you.
I feel like even though we did use it a lot, I was kind of in the headspace where I kind of didn't know when to use it. I didn't feel confident enough using it. I feel like because we didn't like, you know, when we'd go on set, we talk about it in class, but when we'd go on set, we would never really use the terminology. And then, yeah, we didn't really develop that habit of speaking in set jargon. I don't really feel confident about it after, and using it on projects. Would have been really good to have a kind of codex to see actually back in the day. But yeah, that's how I feel.
I think one of the most interesting bits of being out of, like, part of what makes it a bit overwhelming, one of the most interesting bits of going on to other sets after film school is the amount of the terminology that is interchangeable and not widely used, which is what the kind of this sort of codex would be used for, you know. Also known as this, you know. I think I've been on a couple of shoots where people don't say market, they just shout mark, and like that's fairly the exact same thing, but some people might not know that. There's just that could mean, do you want me to put a mark on the ground? Like, it's a teensy bit overwhelming at times when you're on other sets, and obviously the solution to this is to simply absorb this information as you go on other sets. But it becomes an issue once you start making stuff with your peers and you have the same language and the same experience, which has gotten me thinking, how are we to enforce the use of this language with our peers, like a bunch of really cool people who are fun at parties? How are we to get ourselves more invested in this language with our friends?
Swear jar.
Whoa, that's good. So like
that.
Oh,
Floors coded. That used to be when you had miners on set and the crew needed to mine their language.
Oh,
There was a swear jar, 50 cents
wow.
a pop.
Funny how people had cash these days. Swear FPOS.
Swear
Swear
pos.
POS. Oh, swear POS. It only makes it worse. Imagine making an episode of a podcast about how bad set jargon is, and then being like, we should invent the swear POS. I think I had a really good thought just then, and it left my brain. Hang on. A while back, were you on Small Talk, Maz?
I was not, no.
Okay. I've been thinking about this. We used to have a spray bottle on Small Talk. I don't know if you've heard about this. Have you?
I have not. I have not.
You're going to like this, Kim. We had the equivalent of the swear jar.
I think not. Because when I think spray bottle and I think camera.
Oh, well, yeah, it was on stream. It was on, and it was, you know, it was always far away from the camera. Shh.
Oh, does this happen frequently?
Unless we're talking actual lens cleaner.
It's not lens cleaner.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
I think not.
You know, we were only green. We didn't know. If you said based or your mum, you were hit with a spray bottle by the producer, who was Belle at the time. And I have been thinking about that lately because in a time where I think, and you might, like Kim, you might disagree with this, I think it's important that we develop the correct language to describe what we want, which might also involve having the relevant jargon and references. Again, not knowing what a flecke is, for example. Having someone who knows that, someone with you who is learning the same thing with a spray bottle or some other form of enforcement, some kind of FPOS or a swear POS, it can become a peer-to-peer learning experience where members of the same...
So you're bringing in a new crew role, the Jargon Cop.
Even then. It's just been on my mind for a while because I have spoken to even like one of my friends from Afters admits to not being completely familiar with set language, being something that stresses them out a little bit. It's one of those things that I've seen most people come out of film school lacking in. And given that we're more likely to work with our peers after film school, I feel like there should be some universal system that film students and friends can use together to teach each other this kind of language in a fun and interesting way. Good luck.
You see it already, the hope for a universal language.
Right.
Good luck.
Okay. This is Kim telling us that, Maz, you and I now have to figure this out.
Yeah.
We're not ending...
The reason I'm saying that is language in and of itself develops.
Yeah.
But language in and of itself is not static. I watched this video on YouTube. It was really kind of interesting. We see going like trying to go, I can't remember whether it was decade by decade or century by century, see how far back could you go and still understand the English of the time. I can't remember exactly, but at a certain point, it's like, I don't understand this anymore.
Yeah.
And I see that there are things that develop, like there isn't some kind of governing body saying this is the language, this is the dictionary. It does change over time. There was a period, I think maybe 6-7 years ago, we started seeing cinematographers referred to as cines,
Yeah.
Yeah.
as in chopping off the last two parts of the word, which to me,
And it's one of those things where it just differs depending on who you talk to as
bit
well.
of a pet peeve. It's like, having grown up with a different ways of approaching it, it just sounds lazy. But then again, I call a DP rather than a DOP. So, even I'm not consistent about it, right?
And the language isn't consistent between people either. This friend that I was talking to about set language, they were literally like, you say DP, no one says that at afters. At all. We all say cine. There are so many small languages.
That's what I mean. Like, I'm now looking back at it, I'm really curious about, like, when did that? Because I know looking back at it now, I do think it centered and originated, as far as I'm concerned, out of afters.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm like the first time I think I came across it was another lecturer at JMC who was a directing grad from afters.
Yeah.
But again, it's one of those things that suddenly it started popping up in like a lot of different places. So I'm just going like, when did this become a thing? What? I mean, I understand what you mean, but where did it come from?
I feel like set jargon as well could be a kind of generational thing. Like as a new group of filmmakers come out, they create their own language. Like I was even on set for 11:11, and when the first AD started making calls, I was so confused. I didn't really know what was going on because they spoke so differently. And I actually said, I was like, mark it, and they my first AC came up to me after and she was like, isn't it just mark? And I was like, no, it's mark it, right?
I find that really fascinating because those kind of differences to me don't matter.
Oh, yeah. I mean, for me, they have, from my experience, but I'm a real overthinker in that regard. But no first AD between sets has spoken in the same way for me.
There are three variations on it. There's mark it, there's mark.
Like, those make sense. But
then I don't care.
In like the wider thing is that I've not... Oh, man, I was meant to talk about something else. I've forgotten. It's very confusing to me that I've never seen, in my very limited experience, many first ADs use the same call order or terminology. And it gets a little bit... Like, and on all different scales. Like, what's so funny about that?
Again, I don't really care.
I do.
Because, hey, AC, you got this?
Yeah, no, I'm... Cause,
yeah, okay. Yeah,
I mean,
sure. Let's
in
roll.
both scenarios, I've been a second AC, and I'm really relying on the call order, and it's very strange when I have to kind of like learn a new one whenever I'm listening. It's fine, it's all good. However,
I'm wondering whether part of what I'm hearing is learning to relax and love the struggle.
I do love the struggle.
As in, like learning where to put your emotional energy when it comes to this, like what parts, like put your energy where it matters.
I personally kind of get stressed out.
Don't let it consume you.
I think there's a very good point there though, because the things that I've been on I'm still very new to, for example, being a second AC. One of them was a very big, scary commercial shoot. Perhaps I was directing my emotional energy in the wrong direction because I was more worried about making mistakes than I otherwise would be because I was doing something new and interesting.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
Anyhow, Maz.
Yes.
Do you, and you don't have to, you don't have to have any ideas, taking into account this modern set morphology situation, the wiki, if you will. Sorry, no, that's not what it's called. That's not what it's called. I've already retconned it.
So hang on, Marielle. He asked you to
I'm the problem.
Yeah.
come up with a tiebreaker, yeah? And I don't know about you. I may be getting old. My memory might be going. But I believe that your choice was the Contemporary Set Codex.
No, you're very right.
Am I wrong in saying that? Or
You are right.
You're crazy.
Ethan just totally disregards what I say.
okay, just wanted to make sure.
We can
you know.
fill up. I'm a disregard it. We can fill up the Contemporary Set Codex as much as we want with descriptions of my personally my primary concern at the moment is lighting setups, for example. I don't know how to describe them very well. I'm good at describing them to you guys, but I feel like it's because you and we tend to do the same kind of setup most of the time because we're kind of still getting used to all of them. As we work together, which is going to be probably very, very common, we can fill up the Contemporary Set Codex all we like, but clearly the issue is getting all of those words and terms into our heads.
Yeah.
And including them into the way we speak. Do you support, and this applies to every single beginner filmmaker or film student or anyone, some kind of enforcement system for specific terminology? Not the small stuff like mark versus markup or specific call orders, but
Markup, that's...
Sorry, not markup. Sorry, that was I'm thinking of marking stuff. It's just all a mess today. Don't trust the...
I mean, if you want more
No, I don't want any more.
terms and terminology,
I don't want any more.
sure, we can, what have I kept saying through your classes? Why have one word for something and be boring when we can have many and be fun?
Yeah. But whenever we learn about something and pop it into the codex, or even just like learn about something forever, we correct one another. Actually, right? And then enforce some kind of system where once it's been established, you cannot refer to such and such setup or such and such tool
Did I cut it out?
in the incorrect way. Some kind of punishment. You turn into a transformer for all of it.
Oh, my Wi-Fi is gone.
We'll give you some time.
Okay, I'm not back again.
Worst case, you can always stop your video to stop your bandwidth from falling apart. We'll see how it goes. Yes, okay.
Can you get a lovely photo of me with a slate?
You already sound way better.
Okay.
Great photo of a slate. Wonderful
That's
stuff.
for Converse too.
Anyway, do you have...
Yeah.
It is? Excellent. Do you have any thoughts on some kind of... It doesn't need to be punishment. It can be punishment or reward. It doesn't need to be Pavlovian. Right. Do you have any idea what would work, even if it's just for you? Like, if someone were to say, what works for you to reinforce this kind of language on our sets?
Oh, like what kind of system would make me remember to use the words? I think just when we were in advanced cinematography and we would make sure not to say thingy, like really heavily emphasizing, almost yelling the word kind of helped. Like when I would say like, hey, can you pass me the sidewinder? Definitely not the thingy. That kind of helped me. Yeah, that kind of helped. But I think just, kind of like coming up and writing the codex as sort of like a group. So if, say, you, Wilson, and I wrote down words and jargon that we associate, like how we would define those words, and then kind of just...
And like... yeah, go on. Sorry.
So we're all on the same page, all informed. That would kind of help. Like there's no swear jar type way on set that would make me. Maybe just if I mess the word up, just grab a broom and just beat me with a... No, I'm just, maybe not that, but
Maybe not.
yeah, something like that, like a group kind of discussion.
Let me know
No, you
if
can
you
keep
want
that
me
in if
to
you
edit that out. Ariel.
I think also as we stumble across new, because we all have our own little separate adventures as well. As we stumble across new terminology for different setups and things in general. For example, I recently found out that swinging, like someone walks up to their assistant camera and they say, "Do you want to swing?" is changing a battery. I found that out quite recently. I would put that in the codex. What's that?
I would suspect that that's a crew-specific contraction and shortening. Generally, that means to change something because we also say swing a lens.
No swing.
Well,
from theatre. It's when you change people out. Yeah. So if someone, it's a different.
And also, actually, the part of the crew that deals with the actual set lats on a studio production is called the swing gang.
That's
wow.
As in, you swing the
kind of jazzy.
flat out or whatever.
But even then, that's something that I know that the specifics are a bit messed up, but the use of the word swing to change something is something that I learned there. Hypothetically, I would put it in the codex. Don't laugh whenever I say hypothetically. That's too niche. I would put it in the codex.
My perspective is, I realize, is a little different because my introduction to the terminology was strongly colored by English as a second language. So reading American Cinematographer magazine, I would need to read it with like a dictionary on one side and the actual pages on the other. And I'm like, okay, yeah, and recognize that word, and then recognize that word, and go dictionary. And the hell does that have to do with filmmaking? And I guess that kind of made me approach it as a second language, as a different language, as in how do you learn a language full stop.
So you had to like really immerse yourself in it and basically form a second dialect, like it was necessary.
Oh.
Yeah.
But I think also because I was in that transition where, although my English was good, I didn't have confidence in it because it was second language. So a lot of the time, particularly like going out, like noisy environment, I'd be less confident about saying something. So I'd kind of be going with low consonant. Sorry, what was that? And then I'd assume that, well, shit.
Right.
I didn't say that correctly. Whereas what had actually happened was that, sorry, I didn't hear you.
Right.
So I think a lot of it is, do any of you speak second languages, third languages?
Yeah, I don't speak it, but I can kind of understand based on what they're talking about,
Yeah. I'm wondering, could you borrow strategies? Like, how does someone learn a vocabulary? Isn't that a similar issue?
We could be sticklers for it on our sets. And if someone says something that we know they have the right word for, we can be like,
I think
I don't know what you mean.
That was definitely one of the things I learnt going on sets after graduating was don't be scared to just say, hey, I really don't understand what you mean. Could you please clarify? Because I was always afraid when studying that I would look like a fool if I asked for help, which is stupid to think because, you don't have to always know everything. So, yeah, I definitely concur. Just asking someone what they mean.
Another one I want to throw out there is, can you, amongst your peers, do like a little daily quiz?
Oh.
Ooh, I like that.
Oh. I do like
so
that.
I think you could do 3 variations on it. One, throw out a definition and then what's the actual term.
Oh.
The second one is throw out the term and then someone has to give the definition. And a third is an image, because a lot of the terminology is identifying tools, equipment.
I have a suggestion.
Kahoot. Sorry.
Kahoot. Oh my God. That's what I was going to say.
Is that what you're going to say?
Yes.
Nice. Okay. Weekly, whenever, because we're all very busy, weekly Kahoot for the Temple 3 crew.
And everyone, it cycles through who makes them.
Or could we do that for the Contemporary Set Codex?
Yes.
we would need to assemble. Wait, as in like, wait, hang on. Do you mean the Contemporary Set Codex is going to be in Kahoot format, or?
No,
Okay.
no, no. As in, like on the wiki, have like a weekly, either like here's a term, give the definition,
A quiz.
or here's a definition, give the term, or here's an image. What's this thing called?
Excellent. Yes.
Trivia.
I love it. Okay. So, by the way, how long do you guys want to go for? By the way, do you want to go to another meeting or not? Because
I think Google is telling us
yes,
something.
I am 100% willing to finish at the end of this meeting. Okay, let me do my sum up, and then we'll get to the Flecce at the end. Hang on.
Okay, fair.
So, it sounds to me there isn't going to be a hard and fast solution to this, but we need to work on it. Our base of information can become what is now known as a contemporary set.
Hang on. Did you just say base?
Not base, not the other one.
Red pilled.
No.
Where's my spray?
Spray him with the bottle.
Spray, it's going to come through my screen.
Oh my god, he has one.
Wow. I got sprayed.
Okay, pack it up.
Okay. So, it's reaching that time, isn't it? So, our base of operations can be the Contemporary Set Codex, our wiki, which means I now need to figure out how to set
Yes.
up a wiki, which is okay. I can do that.
Should be easy.
Be fine. Should be fine. We need to assemble a team of motivated people like you and I who are happy to contribute to the Contemporary Set Codex all the time. I know people. You know people. You're in the Cinepolity Discord. I'm in the Cinepolity
Yes.
Discord. We can get people for this.
Yes.
On set, when we're around people who we know this language, we ban the word thingy, and when someone refers
Yep.
to something incorrectly, I don't know what you mean. Can you agree to that?
Yep. So
Excellent.
then they can elaborate.
Yeah. Or they have to Google it. Who knows? And then
Gotcha.
weekly, we either conduct.
Or wiki it on the Contemporary Set Codex.
Right, of course, because that's the thing that we're doing, isn't it?
Yes.
And then weekly, we either conduct a Kahoot for our pals,
Yes.
or we could do both. A singular quiz question on the wiki. An image.
Oh,
What is
that
this?
So cool.
A definition. What is this? A word. What does this mean? So cool. So epic.
Epic.
So.
Base, if you will. No, Kim, no.
Well, would you prefer?
A gun?
Oh my god, I thought that was a
Oh, I
gun.
thought it was a real gun for a second.
Oh my
Come on.
god.
Would you prefer?
Thank you.
A different type of spraying.
Sorry. With that in mind, I guess I should put Ethan out of his misery.
She's gonna kill me?
Please do.
The term
Yes!
flecce
Sorry.
was defined.
Oh. What does it mean?
Kim,
Kim, please.
I need to do my sum up. Please.
He's letting it simmer.
FL.
Now, to be honest,
CCE.
I can't remember whether we gave this definition on the podcast or whether we gave this definition in a Discord discussion.
I can check this
I
book.
feel like we may have done both.
I personally still have not heard the definition.
Yeah, no, actually, I obviously remember it from our previous conversations, but poor Maz doesn't know.
Well, then I'm just gonna hand it all over to you, Ethan.
So it's
Yes,
like when
Ethan,
it's like
teach
it's
me.
like when the, you know, Kim.
You know when the Flecce
Right.
does the flex stuff?
Well, Marielle is a lot closer than Ethan's been.